Friday, December 3rd, live stream for studentloanjustice.org. Try and keep it fairly quick tonight, guys. I have a call to action, first of all. By the way, if you're watching this on Facebook, throw up a comment. If I can see it, I will gladly respond to it. If you're watching us on Twitter, YouTube, or our other platforms, you kind of have to go to Facebook if you want to ask a question. Sorry about that. Or restream, I suppose. Two things, guys. Call to action. Action. This whole group is about action. The only reason we exist is to facilitate your action. Right now, we've got a bill that will return bankruptcy rights to federal student loans. We've got to get this bill passed, guys. We've never been in a better position ever in our life. And believe me, after 16 years of doing this, when I tell you that we're not going to see any meaningful student loan cancellation unless and until we get the right of bankruptcy returned to us. Nobody wants to file for bankruptcy. It sucks. I get that. Very few people should have to file when we get the right return, because it's not bankruptcy in itself that we care about. It's the threat of bankruptcy. It is the threat of bankruptcy that is so important, and why the founders called for uniform bankruptcy laws in the Constitution ahead of the power to declare war, ahead of the power to raise an army, ahead of the power to build a navy. So, and coin currency and create judiciary and many other things. So I am thrilled to tell you we are doing a double down on calling our senators right now. It is absolutely critical that we get Republican senators to co-sponsor S2598. S2598. So if you look down like there, I think you'll see a link, and you can see the phone number, the Washington, D.C. phone number for both of your senators. If you have a Republican senator, not today, not this weekend, Monday morning, you need to call one or both of those Republican senators. You need to do everything you can to get through to a human person if possible. Call that number, try and get through to a human, and say in the most impassioned way you possibly can, tell them to join John Cornyn, Republican, and Josh Hawley, Trump Republican, two Republican senators already on this bill. Join John Cornyn and Josh Hawley and co-sponsor S2598. It is the least they can do to stick up for their voters, the people who voted for them, believe you me, against the federal government, against the colleges, and against, I don't know, socialism. Just say that. That usually works. Do that. And do it as if your student loans depended on it, because they might. Believe me, guys, without bankruptcy back, the loan cancellation we're going to get is this up to $10,000 nonsense, this up to $50,000 bullshit. Pardon my French, but I'm sorry, guys. The stuff that we're hearing floated around is just completely nonsense, garbage, ridiculous, balderdash. I don't know. It's garbage. By the time the Department of Education has fun with the up to $50,000, up to $10,000 weasel wording, it'll mean almost nothing for almost everyone. Only with the threat of bankruptcy back on our side will they actually be compelled to actually broadly cancel student loans. This is so important. Hey, Kara and Crispy Street are here with us tonight. And like I said, guys, if you have any questions or comments, throw them out. I'd much rather be give and taking with you than being a talking head up here. Yeah, guys, call your senators on Monday. Look at that link. It is just so freaking important that we all do it. I also want to add, we're getting quite a few people of our members stepping up, and they are concerned. They are concerned that not enough people on our group are actually doing the actions that we need them to take to get this problem solved. Waiting, watching, sitting around on Facebook, worrying, cheerleading, none of those things help. What helps is when you do our daily actions. And by far and away, the most important action that we can all do right now and for the next week is calling our Republican senators call that number below, and don't stop there. I mean, these are your loans. This is your problem. We need your back in this fight. We need your passion. Don't phone it in. Don't check the box. This is bullshit. These are your loans. This is your life. It's my life. It's your life. It's everybody's life. So, and I have to agree with them. Not nearly enough people on this group are doing the work necessary. And it's not hard. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take more than 5 effing minutes to call your senator on Monday, your Republican senators, and tell them in as strong a language as you possibly can to co-sponsor S-2598. There's more Republicans on this bill than Democrats. Hey, Chris has a comment. Chris, do you know when they will start reading the bill? The bill's been written. It's been introduced. You can find it at congress.gov. It has been referred to the Senate Judiciary Committee. It's been talked about in Judiciary Committee. It has not yet been voted out of committee. They have not yet done it hasn't gotten through committee yet. Like, it hasn't been written. It hasn't been marked up yet. So we're still waiting on that. We're also still waiting on a companion bill to come out of the House, but I'm not even going to worry about that right now. Right now, the bill will be marked up. It will be discussed and marked up in the next month, I'm pretty sure, according to my sources at the Senate. So right now is exactly the absolutely best and maybe even the only time that we're going to have any influence on this. So truly, guys, I don't say things because I'm blowing smoke up your ass. This is very important. We've got to get more Republican senators on this bill. This is a bill that every conservative should love, but for the bad politics in Washington, D.C. We are fighting big government. We are fighting the colleges. And by the way, there's language in this bill which claws a little bit of money back from the colleges where a loan is discharged in bankruptcy. So, hey, Andrew Davis says, Fable of the Grasshopper, always part of the curriculum at Baker College. Oh, don't even get me started. This complete douchebag, this fake conservative, calls himself a conservative, but he's not a conservative. This idiot douche who is on the payroll of a terrible college called Baker College in Michigan was writing a finger, and I'm glad that you bring this up because this leads to my next little segue. Wrote a little finger waggy diatribe on, this is a bad borrower problem. Shame on the borrower. They borrowed too much money. Meanwhile, this guy is sucking his paycheck out of the federal student loan program, wrecking the very students that he is profiting from, and then he has the gall to wag his fingers at them. So that's the next thing that I want to talk about, guys. How to silence the haters. And there are a lot of haters out there. They have no clue. There's 2 things you can do, and I'm going to paste the link. There's 2 links that I want to give you that 90% of the time, if you whip these 2 links out and put them between the eyeballs of hey, just pay your loan. Yeah, why should my tax dollars pay for your loan? All those people, 2 links I'm going to post. The first link is an excerpt to a Tucker Carlson interview of Wayne Johnson. He is the Trump appointee and a Republican, and from Georgia, by the way, who ran the federal lending system under Donald Trump. He agrees with us that loans have got to be broadly canceled. Well, number 1, bankruptcy's got to be returned to student loans. Number 2, these loans have got to be broadly canceled. So don't run yourself ragged listening to these assholes and playing defense and, walking around with your tail between your legs saying, oh, please, no, you don't understand how bad loans are. Don't do that. Say, hey, idiot, why don't you listen to it from Tucker instead of me? Maybe that'll get it through your thick fucking head. Pardon my French. I've been a little aggro lately, guys. This is a very important time for us. Monday, call your senators. That's why. So that link, very important, YouTube. Second link is the actual argument for why conservatives are being played for fools right now by the Democrats, if you want to say that. But the Republicans are fighting against their own principles by defending By wagging their fingers at us, they are actually defending and perpetuating the worst big government, college enriching, some would say socialistic lending scam ever to visit this country's shores. This big government, and I love to say that, big government monstrosity is wrecking the red states far worse than blue states. Look at Georgia. Georgia kind of used to be a red state, right? The people of Georgia owe $82 billion in student loan debt. The entire state budget of Georgia is like almost half of that, like $48 billion. It's ridiculous. When the people of a state owe more than that state's entire budget in student loans, mostly federal student loans, that becomes a state's rights, a state's sovereignty issue. No Republican, nobody calling themselves a conservative, including that douchebag at Baker College, has any business defending this lending scam. So anybody that you see calling themselves a conservative or MAGA or Trump this or Trump that, anybody who wags their fingers at you is he's either an idiot, a fool, or he's actually on the payroll of the bad guys, meaning the lending people, the colleges, who knows? Don't care. But most people who wag their fingers just don't know. They're the first kind. They're the idiots. So put those two links that I will post below between their freaking eyeballs, and it will probably shut them up. And it will save you a lot of headache and heartache and distress and high blood pressure and all that stuff that you deal with when you have to deal with these mouth breathers telling you to pay your loans or saying you shouldn't have borrowed for college or you should have done this, should have done that. No. Shut them the hell up. This is a nationally threatening big government lending scam that no true conservative could get behind. So, yeah, Michael Heberling. Remember that name. That guy is a complete douchebag. I'm trying to get that guy fired, actually. I'm going to take it straight to Baker College. If you look at our stuff on Twitter, you'll see like 5 tweets aimed directly and squarely at that fake conservative. Hey, Stephen Keegan says the loans should be forgiven. Stephen, I agree with you, except, and I hate to be the language police, don't call it forgiveness. We haven't done anything wrong. This is a big government, catastrophically failed, unconstitutional lending scam, the likes of which our country has never had to deal with ever before in the history of our country. 80% of all borrowers were never going to be able to repay their loans even before the pandemic. We've known for over a decade now that the default rate is going to be like 50, 60, 70% for this, everybody walking around right now with student loans. We knew it was 40% for the class of 2004, who was only borrowing a third of what is being borrowed today for years. So no, we're not begging for forgiveness. We're demanding cancellation. And mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, if Joe Biden or the Secretary of Education do not cancel these loans, we will cancel them on our own. You call it what you want. You call it a strike if you want. I think that's the wrong word. Again, I don't mean to be the language police. I call it Slexit, student loan exit, like Brexit, Slexit. It's a deletion. It's an erasure. It's the end of this lending system. And don't feel bad at all about it. In my humble opinion, the worst and most unpatriotic thing that anybody can do going forward is ever paying another dime on their federal student loans. This is a big government, for the 4th time tonight, lending scam that needs to be taken to the bath and drowned in the tub. We do not have to put up with this shit, ladies and gentlemen. I am here to tell you, pardon my French, for the 3rd time. Hey, Andrew Davis says, I was told that taking out loans was normal and would be able to pay it back. Yeah, that's what everybody is told. Everybody is sold a false bill of goods. Oh no, these are great. You want to go to college, right? This is a great college, yes. Oh yeah, college graduates earn $1 million more of their lifetime. Yada 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 yada. Nonsense. All nonsense. They never tell the borrower. They never told us before we borrowed that there were no bankruptcy protections for these loans. They never told us before we borrowed that there were no statutes of limitations for these loans. They never told us what their true default was. Their true default rate was, I should say. You go to any college, even today, and they'll say, oh, our default rate is low. It's 6%. That's bullshit. because the default rate they're actually telling you is the cohort default rate, which is a slippery little metric which has nothing to do with the actual default rate. The actual default rate, if they say 6, you probably want to times that by 3 or 4, if not 5. It's 3 or 4 or 5 times higher than what they say. So yeah, they told us all kinds of things, and they didn't care. They were saying whatever they could say to get us to sign on the dotted line. These loans are failed. Not your fault. It's the lending system's fault. We, the people, have not changed much over the years. What has changed is this lending system and the price of college. The founding fathers are on our side, folks. They called for uniform bankruptcy laws ahead of the power to declare war. And I'm telling you guys, it's the number one thing we have to do. We have to call our Republican senators on Monday. If you don't do it, you're a dick. Other people are doing it. You got to do it. You're not, you sitting there watching this are not better than us. And I'm not talking to anybody specifically, but if you haven't called your senators yet, get off your fucking ass. Pardon my French. Like I said, I'm kind of on a roll tonight here. Hey, Stephen Keegan says, hey, Alan, I have paid into the PSL program, have stopped paying since COVID. Stephen, here's the truth. Before COVID, less than half of all federal borrowers were paying on their loans at all, fewer than 50%. Now, obviously, during COVID, almost nobody is paying. Now, whenever they decide to turn this dead lending system back on or try to reanimate this zombie, this Frankenstein of a dead lending system, my best guess is that maybe 20%, maybe 25, but probably 20% is closer to the truth, are going to actually resume paying. So this lending system is a dead man walking. In my humble opinion, if you ever pay another dollar on your federal student loans, you're both a fool and a sucker, and you're unpatriotic. I mean, really, guys, don't feel bad. It's not our fault that this lending system failed. It is not. Lending systems fail from time to time, going back to the days of ancient Greece. I mean, even look at our lifetime. Look at the subprime home mortgage crisis. Look at the S&L crisis of the 80s. Look at all of fucking Central Europe. In fact, look at all of Europe. World War II and maybe even World War I. Like, most monetary systems had failed at that point. So guys, this is not, in the grand scheme of things, that big of a deal, but it is a big deal for us. It's happening on our watch. You got to fight with us, and you got to spread the word about this group, and spread the word about our petition, change.org/cancel student loans. We have over 1 million people now, but guys, I'm telling you, we need to have 25 or 30 million people on that petition. That's the number of people in the country who are losing sleep over their student loans. We're fighting for them. And if they knew about us, they would sign our petition, but they will never know unless you tell them. Here's maybe the most interesting statistic maybe that I'll throw out tonight. If you know 10 people with student loans, 8 of them were never going to be able to pay their loans, even before the pandemic. 8 out of 10. So if you know 10 people with student loans, 8 of them, if they knew about our petition, would probably sign our petition. So there's a million things you can do. Go to our website if you're ever wondering what I can do. You have some extra time on your hands. Do a month worth of our daily actions. It's like Twitter stuff by and large. It's not hard to do. It takes minutes, like sometimes even seconds. You could probably do a month worth of our daily actions in probably 10 or 15 minutes at the very most. So yeah, do that. Stephen Keegan says prediction on when they're supposed to resume. Yeah, February 1st, supposedly, is when they're going to turn the lending system back on. I give that about a 50-50 because the people in Washington, D.C. know what I know. And that is that this is a catastrophically failed lending system. So I think there's a pretty good chance they'll try kicking the can down the road another few months. If that happens, fine. If it doesn't happen, fine. I would almost prefer that they turn the damn thing back on now, just so we can see, so that the true catastrophically failed nature of this ridiculously rigor mortising lending system becomes clear to all. But whichever way it goes, we're good. Whatever Biden does, we're good. Whichever way Congress goes on our bill, we're good. But guys, help us. When you help, everything changes. We need you. And I'm not going to beg because these are your loans. This is your problem. So get off your ass, join the thousands of people who are doing stuff every day to help push this bill, help get our loans canceled. And don't be a part of the problem, be a part of the solution, because we need you and the country needs you. And believe it or not, tens or hundreds of millions of people who are going to follow in our footsteps need us, whether they know it or not. So we're the pioneers, guys. You can't unhear that. You got to live up to that responsibility. So, all right, I'll be back on Sunday. Get ready for Monday, guys. Write it down. Do whatever you need to do. Get off your ass and help, because we need you and you need us and you need everyone else to help. So good luck. Godspeed. God bless everybody.